Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to build your very first AI agent. And get this, you don't have to write a single line of code. We're going to do it by looking at the whole thing through one simple, really powerful idea. You're hiring your first digital employee.
Yeah, this one idea, it's really the key to understanding everything else we're about to do. Forget about all the complicated code for a second. Just think of this like you're hiring someone, training them, and giving them the tools they need to do real, actual work for you. It's just a little shift in how you look at it, but it makes the whole process so much more intuitive.
All right, first things first, let's meet our new hire. Just like any employee, they've got two basic parts that let them think and, well, do stuff. We're going to call them the brain and the body.
Okay, so here's the really crucial part. The brain, in our case, we're using Google's Gemini, that's the thinker. It's what processes your requests and makes the decisions. Then you have the body, which is a tool called NN. Think of it as the hands. It's what lets the brain actually interact with all your other apps. And you've got to remember, one really can't function without the other.
So we've met our employee. Now it's time to set up their office. We need to give them a desk to work at and, of course, the keys to get inside.
This part is actually way more straightforward than it sounds. That API key from Google, just think of it like a unique password, or maybe a security badge. It's what lets the brain talk securely with everything else. And the NAN workflow? Well, that's just the empty desk and computer, waiting for someone to start working. It's as simple as that.
Okay, pay attention here because this next part, it's probably the most important piece of the puzzle. This is the onboarding process. It's where we give our new hire their main instructions, a way to talk to us, and, the ability to learn.
So we're going to start by setting up some basic lines of communication. That on-chat message trigger, that's basically the agent's phone or its chat window. It's how it gets tasks from you. Then we add the AI agent node, and that acts as its central command center. And then we just connect the two. Boom, information can now flow.
All right, so now we're plugging that Gemini brain right into the command center, using that API key we got earlier. And this is so important. We're giving our employee a notebook. That's the window buffer memory. So it doesn't just instantly forget what you told it 5 seconds ago. Context is everything if you want it to be useful.
Okay, now this is a really cool concept, the system prompt. This isn't just some technical setting. Think of it as the job description for your digital employee. This is where you tell it exactly who it is, what it's supposed to do, and how it should act. And this thumb rule of role, task, and constraint, it makes writing this so easy.
And check this out. This is a perfect example of how that works. See how clear that is? The role is helpful assistant. The task? Summarize emails. And the constraint? Use simple language and never use jargon. Just like that, in one single sentence, you've defined its entire personality and its main job.
Look, a chatbot that can follow instructions is great, but a true digital employee? That becomes really powerful when you give it tools to finish specific projects. This is how we go from just talking to it actually taking real action for us. Yeah, the best way to think about a tool is like giving your employee access to a specific filing cabinet. So for example, we can give our agent access to Canvas, that learning management system a lot of schools use. This is basically like handing it the keys to the school's entire record room.
And the process for this is pretty much identical to how we set up the brain. First, you get the key, it's called an access token, from Canvas. Then you add the Canvas tool right inside your NN workspace. And finally, you connect that tool directly to your agent's command center. That way, it knows it has this new skill ready to go.
Okay, so let's put this all together and see the whole flow. This table lays it all out for an agent that can summarize a course for a student. See? The user asks a question, the agent's Gemini brain figures out it needs info from Canvas, it uses the Canvas tool to grab it, and then it gives the summary right back to the user. It's a perfect autonomous workflow.
And here's where it gets really powerful. You can combine that job description, that system prompt, with the tools. Just imagine telling your agent, you're an encouraging academic advisor. Use the Canvas tool to check deadlines. All of a sudden, it's not just pulling data, it's giving personalized support. That's a game changer.
All right, our employee is trained and they've got their first project. It's time to do a quick check-in before their official first day on the job.
And testing this is super simple. It's really just starting a conversation. Just open up the chat window and ask it about itself. If it replies with the identity you gave it in the system prompt, something like, I am a helpful assistant who summarizes emails, then hey, congratulations. It's alive and ready to get to work. And hey, if something goes wrong, don't panic. Just follow this super simple troubleshooting rule. First, a logic check.
Did you forget to give the brain its API key? It can't think without it. Second, a connection check. Are all the little nodes wired together correctly? Information can't flow otherwise. I'd say 9 times out of 10, the problem's going to be one of those two things.
And there you have it. You've now got the complete blueprint for hiring, training, and deploying your very first digital employee. They are sitting at their desk, they're ready for their first assignment. So the only question left is, what grand challenge, or maybe just what simple, tedious task, are you going to ask it to do first?